Can you talk about interpersonal relationships without talking about conflict? We have a variety of relationships: friends and roommates, spouses, romantic partners, parents, work colleagues, and bosses. When you have a relationship, sooner or later, you will have a conflict with that person. Do we let the conflict define and destroy the relationship, or do we use the conflict to grow in the relationship? As strange as it sounds, it is possible for conflict to lead to a better relationship. Let's find out how. A good place to start is by asking ourselves why conflicts occur in interpersonal relationships. It's important to think about this before a conflict happens so that we'll be prepared for the conflict. Different studies identify a variety of causes for conflict: personal viewpoints, things we perceive as flaws in people, people trying to establish power over someone, intimacy issues, distrust, or responsibility. You might say that one person has a set of expectations of what will and should happen, and the other person violates those expectations. Our expectations are built on our own experiences growing up, our family, our culture, our beliefs, attitudes, and our values. We all have these experiences that create our expectations about relationships. And so it is that when we are in a relationship with any other person, we're bumping all of our ideas up against all of their expectations about relationships. Since we're all different people, conflicts will happen. It's not a question of whether conflict will happen. It's really just a question of when. In the early 20th century, education research and writer John Dewey proposed a straightforward process to use when conflict occurs. Let me share my slightly modified version of Dewey's approach to conflict that I believe can lead you toward relationship success instead of relationship failures. If it's possible, in your relationships, take the time to talk about this plan on how to deal with inevitable conflict, or sit down and come up with your own plan. Here are the steps to successfully dealing with relationship conflict, as I would explain them. The first step to dealing with conflict is to stop. Stop and mentally step back and realize that you are now in a conflict. This is not bad. You have just bumped up against someone else's expectations of how things should go. Now it's time to use your interpersonal communication skills. The second step to dealing with conflict is to sit down. Ask the other person if you can sit down with them and see if you can figure this issue out, or if maybe another time is better to do that. Let the person know that you value the relationship more than just having your own way in the conflict. Take the steam and the emotion out of the conflict by approaching it as if it's merely a problem to solve instead of a personal attack. Now, it might be a personal attack, but if you respond in the same way, you'll never resolve anything. So ask if you can sit down and work together on solving the conflict. The third step to dealing with conflict is to define the problem. In clear and unemotional terms, try to figure out what the problem is. It's great if you ask the other person to take the lead and talk about what they think the problem is. Now, instead of listening for the other person's position, try to hear what their expectation about the situation was that you might have violated accidentally. Remember that conflict often stems from people having different expectations and neither person knowing what the other person is thinking. The fourth step to dealing with conflict is to brainstorm. Brainstorm all of the possible ways to look at the issue and solve the problem. Brainstorming is just really getting ideas out and down on paper. It's good to have as many ways as possible of looking at a solution before either one of you decide what to do. The fifth step to dealing with conflict is to decide on a possible solution. Decide and then talk about whether you both think the solution is workable. Evaluate it from every side and see if you can create a new set of expectations about the event that's agreeable to both of you. The sixth step to dealing with conflict is to reaffirm your commitment to the relationship. Reaffirm your commitment and somehow express that whether you might disagree on certain things that will come up in the future, that the relationship is more important than conflict. To review, let me give you a personal example. When my wife and I married 7 years ago, she expressed strongly that she didn't like conflict. We knew it would happen from time to time, and so we made a plan, wrote it out, and put it on the refrigerator. Here was our plan. If we have a conflict, the first thing that we would do is stop and hug each other and tell the other we love them. As friends or work colleagues, you might express this kind of commitment to resolving the issue a little differently. Now, second, we would talk the issue out calmly. Third, we would try to come up with a solution we could both agree upon. Fourth, and this is just what my wife and I decided we would do, we would hug each other again and tell each other we loved each other. Now, you would definitely modify this fourth step in a work situation or based on your friendship level. Remember, conflict will happen. Instead of being mean-spirited and resorting to name-calling, wallowing in hurt feelings and negativity, plan ahead of time how to deal with the conflict. Having a plan in mind to work will lead you in all of your interpersonal relationships towards better and more successful relationships. See you in the next video.